All right, 2023, episode 3 of the new season. And as always, the
Hey,
three of us here hanging out. John and Valero, how you guys doing?
Back again, pretty good, pretty good. Just laughing my ass off at this latest Boston Dynamics video. Have you guys seen this? They
Yes,
just
I
released it
was
today.
going to ask you guys about that.
I
So,
didn't. I did not see it. What is happening?
yeah, we'll have to like dive into that. Well,
Oh,
I
okay.
guess we
Yeah,
can
yeah.
do
We
it
can.
now or a little bit
I
later,
didn't know
but
how. I didn't. Yeah, I did. I wasn't expecting you to have more to say about it. But yeah, I just thought that was hilarious how it like threw the tool bag up there. I was just thinking like, if that was my tool bag, like my tools are fucking everywhere now. Like,
yeah.
So what
yeah,
happened? It
I
threw a
can pick
tool
things
bag.
up. Yeah, so apparently like the robot can like pick things up now and like throw it and like set it down. Yeah, actually it had this plank and it like sat it down and then it like walked over the plank, grabbed this guy's tool bag and like tossed his tool bag up to him. But when he tossed the tool bag up to him, like luckily it was zipped closed. If that thing was open, the tools would have went everywhere. Like and
Yeah.
like usually in a tool bag there's like a bunch of like little pockets like inside where everything's like neatly organized. But like that when he tossed it, that thing was flipping like around like a million times in the air. Like
I would assume if you were throw a tool bag, you would definitely close it.
Yeah, it was definitely like thrown like with disrespect. If someone like
Oh,
gave you your
okay.
tool bag like that, you would be mad about it.
Oh, okay.
just
I see.
complete disrespect.
Okay, that's a good way to explain it then. Okay.
That was a perfect word for it. Yeah, completely.
But I mean, it was yeah, it if you've ever seen like a very jank video game from like the PlayStation 1 days or
Yeah.
N64 and like how the models like move around, you're like, this
Yeah, the physics
isn't
didn't
right.
match the actions.
Yeah. This robot was the complete opposite of that. It had everything almost right. It was like, this shouldn't be in reality. This is wrong.
Yeah.
Until it threw
Yeah.
the bag, then I was like, oh, okay, it's still a little fucked up.
Yeah,
Oh
so
man,
you needed
it
it to
was
be a little
perfect.
fucked up so that you could feel good about the fact that this was
Even
happening.
the way it moved wasn't it was like it was perfectly imperfect. Like it was making like little adjustments the way like a human does, like the way that you can see that it's like catching its balance, and at the end it even like emoted as if it was in Fortnite and did a little dance. It was like why are they doing this? I just want to know.
Like, if it can do all that, it can hand you your tool bag with respect. That thing tossed it with disrespect on purpose. And everyone, the humans were like, wow, good job, little robot. And this robot's like, fuck you.
Yeah, it's already decided like, man, you bitch.
It just reminds me so much. Like, every time they come out with a video, it always reminds me of that Corridor Digital video where they're like, it's just making fun of the Boston Dynamics video, and like they're like kicking like everyone's seen the video where they're like kicking the dog and like this robot dog, and it's like just to show that you can't knock it over. But
Yeah.
like they just make this video just like, and the whole video is just them just like beating the like crap out of the robots and stuff, and like while they're trying to like do like balance on one leg and juggle a basketball. Like some random guy will like come in with a baseball bat and just like knock him over the head, and like they're just expected to still go. And like yeah, it just reminds me of this video. Like we're making these robots like do all these like crazy tricks and then like toss someone a tool bag and then do a Fortnite dance at the end. It's
Yeah.
like man, I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna like this.
Yeah, it's really something. And then at the end of that video, I guess spoiler alerts. I don't know. Is there really a such thing as a spoiler alert for
No,
a YouTube video?
this is just like
um,
news.
yeah, I don't think so. Yeah,
Okay.
you're fine.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the video, the robot finally snaps and like retaliates, and then like they're all like, "Oh shit, we're fucked." And it's like it's just so crazy that like everything is fine until the robot isn't like obeying commands, and instantly it's like, "Oh, we're all in like mortal danger."
Yeah. This was in the Corridor Digital video, not the real video, by the way. In the yeah, so that'd be hilarious if that happened in the real
I
video.
mean, that tool robot like styled on him. He was like teabagging that guy at the end, so it's pretty close. Yeah,
That's pretty
it's
crazy.
too much. Um, but yeah, besides that going on, what about what about you guys personally? Actually, I have a random question for both of you that I'd
Okay.
like you to answer. Um, what do you think is the best time of day to get good and bad news. Like they can be different times of the day if you think they're different times of the day, or if you think one time is the best time for both of them. I'm just curious what you guys think.
I think good news in the morning, bad news at night.
But like a specific hour.
Oh God.
Yeah.
A specific hour? I would say like honestly, like who doesn't want to wake up to like some good news like instantly? Like the first thing they learn. Like your whole day is gonna be good after that. Like and same
True.
said for bad news, which is why I say bad news at night, because then like your brain can sleep on it, and then you'll wake up like refreshed with a good outcome. So yeah, literally, I would say like good news the second you wake up, and bad news right before you go to bed.
That's interesting. I would say I kind of agree with you. I want good news like way early in the morning, like before I even wake up, so I can like see it when I wake up. Because like you said, like that makes the day way better. And then for bad news, I kind of feel like the same way, because then at least I have like the whole day to mull it over and like decide how to fix it, if it can even be fixed or something. Because I feel like if it's like right before I go to bed, then I'm not going to bed that night.
So
That's
you're
true.
saying good news
That's
in the
true.
morning and bad news in the morning?
Yeah. Yep.
Yes, that's exactly what I was gonna say, and for the exact same reasons. Like, I, good or bad news, if you give it to me before I'm supposed to go to bed, just not having any news, I have a hard time going to bed. So like, if you give me something to mull over, I'm just gonna think about that the entire time, and that's happened to me in both ways. Like, I've gotten good and bad news at night, and both times I stayed up because of the news, like whether it was good or bad. So like
Yeah.
my mind is just too overactive as it is to be able to get it at night and have it benefit me. So yeah, in the morning I feel like it's great for good news because to your point, it makes your day feel better. And for the bad news, I have all day to basically think about ways to solve it.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Yeah. I was just curious because I
Yeah.
wonder, like, depending on where you stand on the advancement of technology, and when you saw this Boston Dynamics video, I wonder what people thought exactly. I don't even know like what time they published it, but I feel like it's a morning thing. Like this is
Mm.
something that you release in the morning.
I'm sure they have some data
Yeah.
somewhere on like at Facebook or so, one of the major collectors of our data. They know exactly like what we prefer. I bet they even
Yeah.
curate it to each person too.
Yeah. Speaking of curation and what people prefer,
Mm.
John, you were telling us that you went to the box office, the home
Oh,
box office, in
yeah, I was
fact.
gonna say I didn't go anywhere.
No, this is the home one, the
Yeah.
for the premium viewers. I don't even know if it's actually still premium anymore. Anybody got HBO Max? Send us the password
I do
and the
actually.
sign in.
It's so funny.
Uh,
It's like you know what's gonna happen. What I'm about to say. Like it, I literally watch these movies all on HBO Max, and it's something we just bought. So like, yeah, if you guys actually do want HBO Max, just hit me up after the podcast. But
no, I mean the
Good. I'm
listeners.
gonna cancel my subscription.
The listeners need
he's
to
gonna
send us
No, I'm
a
just
cancel.
kidding.
credential.
Well, I've already bought it, so yeah, I'll be part of the pool who will offer up the password. It's fine.
All right.
I think I
Yeah,
know
I'm not.
everyone who watches the podcast, so yeah, I'd probably be comfortable with any of them having it.
Okay. First month of super ultra premium Patreon tier.
Oh,
You get access to our Discord that has our credentials to everything, our bank account, our
oh,
HBO
yeah,
Max,
there you go.
whatever you want.
That's our password to
Whatever you want.
HBO Max.
He said whatever you want. Wait, yeah, you lump that in with our bank accounts.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
those are the same.
Yeah. Our lives are your lives now. Isn't that how Patreon works? The higher you pay, the more that you're the person's friend. Or at
I
least
guess
that's how
so.
people treat
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I was gonna say the
I
more
mean,
that
for a
they make
certain
you
price,
believe
I'm
they're
okay
your
with
friend.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so tell me, Valera,
So you're a pay
what?
pig.
Yeah, what? Yeah, what the fuck? That I've never. Anyways, yeah, I'm not about to kink shame, but I've never quite understood that one. Uh,
No, 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 no. We need to kink shame. We need to bring back shame in general. I think shame is a useful tool.
yeah.
If
Okay,
if
sorry,
done
I'm
right.
getting off track.
Yeah,
What
sorry,
about the
yeah.
movies? You
Yeah.
watch any shame movies?
No. No. So I actually saw three movies on HBO Max over the last week, like the exact week, yeah, since the last time we were talking. And I saw the three movies were Black Adam. For those who don't know, that's like a superhero movie with The Rock. He's like one of the
Yuck.
Shazam characters. Yeah, so like it's a DC movie, and basically HBO Max has some either they're owned by Warner Brothers or they have some deal with Warner Brothers because like they have a lot of the DC shit on there. But anyway, so I watched that just because I was curious to see if it was any good, and then I watched The Menu. I don't know who's in that exactly, but if anyone's seen like The Queen's Gambit, which is like a chess thing on Netflix, um, the same chick that was in that, she was in this movie. But yeah, that's supposedly about a like a restaurateur who like basically brings everybody to his restaurant for a special menu, and it turns out that he's doing violent things uh, in the restaurant. So yeah, so that's what that's one about. And the third one was the newest Batman, like the 2022 version, I think it came out.
Oh, I
Um,
still need to see that.
yeah, so
Yeah, I
that
saw that.
movie, yeah, and I'm just gonna talk about them just like in backwards order. So we can start with Batman. I
Mhm.
actually just finished that this morning, and my God, was that long? Like it is 3.5 minutes short of a 3 hour movie. Like it's
Yeah.
2 hours and 56 minutes and like 40 something seconds. Like it's nuts, and my God, there's not enough in there for it to be 3 hours. There just isn't.
Yeah.
So like that
Yep.
that made it worse because like I got to the end and I felt like I already knew what was about to happen and I just waited 3 hours for nothing. Like that's what it felt like to me. So that was frustrating. I
So you
wouldn't.
were you were right. Like what you thought was gonna happen
Yeah,
happened.
yeah, of course, yeah,
That's disappointing.
yeah.
Yeah, I
So,
couldn't make it through the whole thing. I saw it too, and
oh,
I
did
made it
you?
an hour through, and I was like,
Yeah,
"Holy
yeah. It
shit!
was
This is the
it's
most
long,
boring experience I have ever seen." And
and
it's
it's
just like I would rather spend my time doing almost anything else. Like just turn it off.
yeah,
Like,
it really is that long. Like, and it's unfortunate because I think like the way that they set up the scenes and like the overall ambiance of like anyone who's ever seen a a Batman movie knows that like Gotham City is like a heavy crime area. It's supposed to have a certain feel. Like I felt like all of that stuff seemed right. Like the way the ambiance of the movie seemed right to me. I just didn't understand why it had to take 3 hours.
yeah, the whole thing could have been wrapped up in like an hour, hour
Yeah,
20 minutes
hour
top.
15, hour 20 would have been fine for that for that movie, quite honestly. But yeah, so that was that. The Menu I thought was super good. If anyone is looking for like like sort of a thrillery movie to watch, I thought that was really well done. Yeah, that's all I'll say about it because I don't want to ruin anything in it. And then Black Adam was surprisingly decent. I
I
feel
don't believe that.
I thought it was. I actually the reason I thought that was is because I felt like they wrote the role for The Rock to just like play himself and it sort of was easy for him. At least that's how it felt to me. It didn't feel like he was trying to be a superhero. He was just sort of, you know, being a guy.
Lame.
So yeah,
Who he always is.
I mean
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
kind
him
of.
every time.
Kind of, but like even his character still had some depth. It wasn't like just straight muscle and that's it. Like it had a little bit of depth. But like, it's The Rock. They didn't depend on him to, break down and, make the scene. That's not what his role is in movies most times. He was the strong dude. So like, yeah, it was fine. Like it, again, you have to go into a movie like that with some low expectations. Like I wouldn't go in there like, okay, this is going to be the greatest superhero movie ever. Like it's not that nuanced. But yeah, I thought it was just a
My
good movie to spend some time on. Yeah.
my expectations are so low, it's never gonna make it in my line of sight.
Well,
Yeah,
I guess
I don't
I
know
guess
about that
Guda
one.
won't be seeing it, so
No.
we can just talk about it amongst ourselves, even if
Yeah,
Guda's
spoil it.
around, because it doesn't matter. Yeah, he's like, yeah, spoil it. There's really nothing to spoil. Like he has an origin story. He's fighting. There's a villain. Yeah, someone's gonna win. The end. That's that's really all there is.
He
I'm gonna
won,
guess
did
he
he?
won.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
well, yeah. Like how like what superhero movie do like the superheroes not win in some regard? Especially if there's one, if there's, I've seen superhero movies where like the superheroes don't win, like one of them or a few of them die, but I've never seen a superhero movie where like it's this person's origin story and they lose at the end.
What about the Dark Knight?
Yeah, I was
Well,
gonna say.
that wasn't his origin story,
Right,
though.
yeah,
Like,
that's
the
true.
movie before was
But
his origin.
he
Yeah,
lost,
that would be
he lost,
interesting.
he completely lost at the end of the Dark
I
Knight.
mean, I feel like
I mean
He kind
loses
of
in
loses
like,
at the
yeah.
end of all of them.
I mean loses in like die, because like that's what happens to the villain most of the time, they die. But like the
Yeah.
superhero never dies.
well,
Almost
neither
ever.
of them died in Dark Knight either.
Oh,
Dude,
that's
he
true.
basically
Yeah, Dark
died in the
Knight.
first 5 minutes.
Wait, what?
Not really. That's
Dark
just a
Oh,
joke.
oh, then the
How
Dark
did that,
Knight.
I would say in the first one.
That
So we're
Pink
talking
Manager
about
did.
the Christopher Nolan films, right?
Yeah.
Right. So in the first one, in Batman Begins, didn't like everyone that get like hit with that neurotoxin, and like the first Rachel Dawes, like she almost died, and then his house got burned down
So
because that
almost
Ra's
died.
al Ghul.
But
Like
it's not
so,
about
he
falling
kind of
down.
lost
It's
there.
about getting back up. That's what
Right.
his dad was telling him.
Yeah, man. See,
So
such
that was just
depth.
the beginning.
What a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the second one, yeah, what the fuck happened? Oh
I
yeah,
would-
that was the one with Joker.
Yeah,
I mean, he didn't like outright win. He kind of got fucked up most.
he survived. He survived.
I
though.
feel like if you take where Batman started in the beginning of the movie and look at the situation of things in the end, I would say like
He
it
lost.
seems like yeah, he's at a net loss here.
Yeah, because he has to be like the bad guy at the end.
And didn't his
Falls
girlfriend
down
die?
that scaffolding. Yeah, she got blown up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not funny, but yeah, that's definitely what happened. Yeah, and then in the third one, he had to like carry that bomb out into like the middle of the ocean and pretend that he killed himself.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah,
that's
see, he
right.
lost every single time. He sucks.
Nah. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't think Batman ever wins anywhere close to like. That's also why I kind of appreciate Batman as like a superhero. He's like the realest superhero. Like he's got no powers. Like his power is that he's rich, which is like a normal human power. Like everyone actually not aspires to be rich, but like people actually are striving for that in day-to-day life versus like, Superman who's like from a different planet. And like the ways he loses are the ways I feel like real people lose. Like even though he's a billionaire, he still he still gets his feelings hurt. Like when he loses, it's a
Yeah.
morale battle. Like yeah, he didn't get killed. He just had to like limp back to his mansion.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not even like a cut. Yeah, like you said, a cut and dry. Like, oh, I wasn't strong enough. Let me just
No.
pump more weight or like make
Yeah,
this
yeah.
suit. Like he's like done. Like
Yeah, it's
his
like,
soul.
oh, I wasn't clever enough, and I'm the billionaire with all of the resources. Fuck.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. And then you meet people with real superpowers, you're like, what the fuck? Like all the crossover movies they did in DC where like Superman and Batman are like fighting. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I don't know. Like in the first version of the Snyder Justice League, I thought they did a good job of. Actually, no, not the Justice League. Batman versus Superman. I
Oh
forgot
no,
that
I
was a
thought the
whole
movie
other
was
movie.
good too. I just was thinking from like Batman's perspective, it's like, well, fuck. Like I had enough problems with just fucking like the Joker and Bane, and now I have to battle with this dude from Krypton. What the fuck is Krypton?
Yeah.
Like I mean, he's a billionaire. He's got the
Uh,
toughest life of a billionaire I've ever seen. And like it's crazy that you even want to root for him because he's a billionaire.
yeah, that's actually
And that's like,
very.
isn't that the
Yeah.
craziest part of Batman is that like Batman is fighting injustice and the most injustice is coming from the people at the top, but you still root for Batman.
Yeah, he has so
Yeah.
much corruption going on right underneath of him
Yeah.
that he just ignored.
Like
He
he
didn't have to break
he didn't
any
use
laws
any of
to
his
fix
yeah
that.
he
He
didn't use
even
any of his
bother.
actual resources like his money, and we're all applauding him because he puts on a fucking bat cape and goes and fights crime at night. He'd rather fight crime. Like this is the ultimate capitalist. He'd rather fight crime with his hands, his bare fucking hands, in a suit, than actually spend money to stop the corruption.
Yeah, to like create a system and an organization that trickles downward to and affects everyone below him. He's like, that's too much.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I'm putting on the suit.
Yeah, go ahead and make me a Batmobile, Alfred.
So you think people, obviously that's like not real life, and I'm talking about real life. Do you think people would be more accepting of the ultra elite if they knew in their spare time they were like doing vigilante justice?
E-
Yeah,
That's a
some
good
people
question.
would. Yeah,
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 probably.
definitely.
Yeah, probably.
So you're saying the only cure to income inequality is superheroes?
Yep. Yeah, the
It's
elite must.
vigilantism.
Yeah, the elite must give up their bodies and fight for
Yeah.
us.
Okay.
No,
Would you?
I
Yeah,
don't actually know.
that's interesting.
Yeah, but maybe. But I do think people would be more. I think if it's only the young ones though, because like I don't. No one's expecting a fucking 7-year-old to go fight crime. Like that's not real.
Right.
But what's crazy is they actually made like I don't know how much you guys know about like cartoon Batman, but they ran that version of Batman until like into his 60s. Like he was a 50-year-old man like meeting the younger Batman training him, but his ass was still putting a suit on. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, like Batman. I don't know what the fuck it was. Like it was like Batman Return. I don't know what it
Yeah,
was.
Batman Forever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
some.
he was so old that he had to like use a gun.
Yeah, yep.
He was like, "Oh
Yeah,
shit, I
didn't
can't
he have
punch
like
him
a
with my
Tommy
fist."
gun?
No,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He probably
could
did.
you imagine?
No, there is a Batman movie where he uses like a machine gun. Like
What?
it's one of the early ones.
No way. Like one
Probably
that was
Batman.
made in real life?
Probably Batman Forever.
Definitely. It might have been Batman
Oh,
Forever. The
okay.
one
That's
with
the
like
one I
Michael
had with
Keaton or
Arnold. Though,
whatever.
yeah, with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't watch
Yeah.
movies made before 2000.
Oh,
At
okay,
a
yeah.
certain point, he just takes out this machine gun and start mowing people down. Like, all right, what happened to his like not killing part? But like, all right, whatever.
Was that the one with the nipple suit?
The nipple suit. I think so. Yeah. Because
Mm,
the Christopher Nolan Batman's that didn't have the nipple suit, right?
no, no,
Yeah.
not
Then
at
yeah,
all.
that was the nipple suit one.
Okay.
Yeah, they added
Well,
nipples to the armor. Like, why would you do that? Like, are his nipples so like protruding that like they have to have their own indent? Otherwise, it's too uncomfortable for him. Like,
Ugh.
what the hell?
yeah, they were chafing.
He's like,
That's
all this
all.
fighting crime makes my nipples so hard.
Probably, actually. Okay, well, I will then check out that new Batman movie, even though you said it was way too long,
Yep.
and The
Good,
Chef,
don't do it.
Yeah,
but I will
the
not
menu,
watch
but
Black
yes.
Adam.
Okay, you don't have to watch Black Adam.
So
Okay.
menu.
The
That's the
menu,
one
yeah.
I haven't seen.
Yeah, I thought it was really good, but yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
I'm gonna have to check that one out.
Any new content finds on your end, Valero, that you want to share?
Content finds?
Yeah.
Let's see. Anything good? No, I mean I just watched like did have I seen anything good? Have I seen a movie? Yeah, no, nothing. I just
Okay.
watch
Yeah.
shows. My reality TV. That's my go-to.
Okay. All right. Well, since we were talking about Batman, I feel like this is a good transition into the next thing I wanted to talk about, which is ChatGPT.
Oh yeah.
I know Valero, you're familiar with this. John, has it like managed to seep into your worldview yet?
Oh, not into my worldview. I only know what it is because of Valero.
Okay. But you're familiar with like the main like purpose of it and like what it does?
Um, Not really. From what I understand, it sounds like something you can ask questions to and it'll give you answers.
So you've
Right.
never used this thing
No,
before.
I
Yeah,
still haven't used it either.
interesting. You've never, so neither of you have even used it.
no.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the reason why I brought it up in terms of Batman is that from my understanding of it, basically this thing is like how in all the superhero movies, like how Batman has this computer that he talks to, or like Iron Man has Jarvis or whatever the fuck. Like this is that's basically what ChatGPT is. And I I'm having a hard time understanding like why the people who built this just like unleashed it to the public when it's very clear like how powerful it is. Like it's that powerful. And it's not like a science fiction thing. Like literally you could potentially like put this thing into your watch and then you would have like a Jarvis in your watch. And yeah, so that's that's the direction I'm coming at this from. So, what about you, Blair? I know that you have some thoughts on this.
I mean, like that was definitely the first thing I thought also. But then like when I started like really thinking about it, I was like, yeah, like this is crazy. Like, do they understand what this can do? And then I was like, well, like let's name something that I can do. I was like, well, it can like write really good and stuff. And then I was like, uh, and like that was like it. Like it's good at like a lot of things, but like when you really think about it, like what is it like there's like what job is so remote that you literally only have to like type to people? And like that's literally just like if you're I guess a writer and you do like little bits of writing, then like yeah, Chat GPT is can 100% do that. But like
The job I had at CLO, one of them definitely could have been done by Chat GPT. Like it was just data pulling and emails.
Yeah.
yeah,
Very,
that
very,
could easily
very,
be
very,
done.
very little actual communicate. I mean, I did have communication with people. Like that's what like had me do other jobs. But if I just wanted to be the greatest like mid worker, yeah, GPT could have did that.
So, and I feel like another thing is like you have to someone has to come around and then like make Chat GPT like suitable for like that person in that
Sure. Yeah.
industry also because like Chat GPT is good I've realized, but sometimes you have to like really ask it the right things in the right way to get it to get the answers you're looking for, whereas like a human can like understand. I don't even know, can a human understand more through, yeah, a human can. Like I'm watching The Circle right now where like that's like it's like a social media competition, I guess, where like eight players come into like this hotel. None of them can see each other or speak to each other. They all only talk through text and they can't talk to the outside world. But yet when they get through with it, like they all feel like they have like meaningful connections. And when like they're reading each other's messages back and forth, when they read it, like when they read the messages they get, like they put like a character or like an attitude to the message. And I feel like that's what something like Chat GPT can't grasp, essentially, like the attitude or like the intent of like what you're saying or asking. So like it'll literally give you exactly precisely what you ask it to do, but as a human you don't realize that it's like, oh, it's like, yeah, the be careful what you ask for thing. If you ask to be a millionaire, well, you know what that really means? It means all these other things happen. So like it's the same with ChatGPT. You ask it to write you a book, well, it writes you a book, but then you realize it has this wrong with it. So now you have to ask it a little bit differently. So like, I think that's the difference between Chat GPT and a human that I've seen. But like, still, like, just because I haven't thought of like crazy ways that it's gonna disrupt anything yet, that's just me. Like, I'm just one person. Like, I'm sure like Google and Microsoft have, after they learned about this, I'm sure they've dedicated entire departments into
Um,
utilizing the power of this.
I'm willing to bet that Google had something similar to this. Maybe not as far along, or maybe a little bit further along, because they did mention that like because they do have a version of this. Maybe not this in particular, but um, they did say that like they didn't want to put it out because they couldn't guarantee the accuracy or something like that. But like I wouldn't be surprised if people who haven't been working on this for a while and just like don't have anything that they would prefer to release. Because like the other part of it too is like this is just open source. Whoever did this, like I would assume that if a company is doing it, they'd want to put it out like in order for it to be monetized, like in a way that would make sense. So there might be other parts of that of why we haven't seen other people just do it. Like whoever did it recently, like to just put it out to everyone, like yeah, that's not something you would see every day, which is what part of what makes it interesting. Like you guys were saying, like do they know how powerful this is? Like that's another thing I feel like the Googles of the world probably understand how powerful it is. So when they come out with theirs, they want it to be like not sentient, but like they want to make sure that it's gonna be there so good that like you're just gonna open your wallet.
Yeah.
It's kind of ridiculous. Like, I just want to quick say it's not open source. They did promise it would be, but they have yet to release the source code
Oh,
or
okay.
ever say
Sorry.
how
I
that
shouldn't have
they
said
ever
open
would
source
release
then.
it.
I should have said open source. Then I more meant that it's just like something like you have to pay for it.
Yeah, it does. Well, you right now, ChatGPT itself is free. I
Right.
think
Okay.
everyone kind of knows this is not going to be free for long.
Sure.
And
I should have just said free.
if you use a program that utilizes ChatGPT, that does cost money.
Right. Okay.
So, so yeah, yeah, and also you're completely right that the big companies know what they're doing because just another bit of news for those of you who haven't heard, but after seeing ChatGPT, Microsoft instantly put down $10 billion and was like, here, you take this, like, and let us
Yep.
own like a good share of your company. Like instantly, like
Yeah.
they just released ChatGPT to the public, and like
That's what
within like I
Microsoft
would say
does
like
too.
two
They just
weeks,
gobble.
Microsoft's like, here's 10 billion bucks. Like, god damn, like, so yeah.
Yeah. They have
Sorry,
cash
I didn't
on
mean to cut
hand.
you off, Kuda.
They have cash on hand just for that purpose, just to be like, here, it's ours now.
That's smart.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that too, and I think, or not, I think, I know the plan is for them to integrate it with Bing, their like search
Yep.
function, so that they'll finally be able to compete with Google. And yeah, I don't know, they might, but I think it's interesting, like how you said, Valero, that you have to know what questions to ask it, which is I think like exactly how the people in like the superhero movies do it and how they're so successful because we're led to believe that these people are geniuses. So they know like the exact question or like what like schematics to pull up and all that stuff. And they know they're gonna get exactly the answer that they want. And it seems to me that they released it in the state that it's in right now. One, to get more like data, and two, to like I don't know, train people on how to use it properly. Like I think they probably know that you can't just ask an open-ended question and expect to get like exactly what you need out of it, but by releasing it in like this beta phase right now, it like gives people a chance to like write stories about it and like say like, oh well, look at this amazing thing I did with it, and here's the use case, and here's exactly how I made it happen. And just like how you said, Valero, you've learned that well, I need to be a better critical thinker, and I need to be able to like parse down my ideas into exactly the steps that I wanted to take. And I think people are like so afraid of this thing like stealing jobs when at the same time it's also doing a good job of like making us smarter in a sense, but only if you're willing to use it that way. So I don't know. I just feel like this is definitely a like a tentpole point in our history with technology. Maybe that's just me, but that's how
Uh,
I feel about it.
Completely agree. I think when they look at history and you zoom out of the timeline, like you'll see in the 90s the invention of the internet or the wide use of the internet. And then maybe if you're zoomed in far enough, you would see like the introduction of like flat screen tablets and whatnot. But like honestly, that is nothing compared to this, like this large language model or whatever ChatGPT is. Like this
Right.
is yeah, this is a whole yeah, this is akin to like maybe not the wheel, but like this is yeah, we've invented a tool that's gonna really make everyone it's basically gonna enable every little person to do things that they would have never been able to do before. Is ChatGPT useful to a billionaire or someone who has money and resources already? Not really. Like you can just hire someone to write an essay or do all these things, but like for the any old average Joe, now like the things that any old person can reach, I feel like with this and with the invention of the internet,
I
it's
was gonna
gonna
say
yeah.
what I was gonna ask you like what do you think Chat GPT gives the little person that like they couldn't already get on like Google or something?
You you can more easily find information from ChatGPT. Like it will,
Than Google?
yeah, surprisingly.
Like
The
okay, so
only
can you give me
problem,
an example of that?
like, I have like a lot of examples. I'm trying to figure out what would be the best one. Because what I use it for mostly is I've used it to teach me how to program. So like before I could technically try and Google like a certain programming question,
Hmm.
and then like parse through all these like yeah comments, and then hopefully find someone who had the same question as me, and then all that bullshit. But like ChatGPT will literally understand what I'm asking and kind of what I'm trying to do, and it'll like help me what I'm doing. But like programming isn't like that relatable to you guys. But like I feel like it's also good for research, I guess. Like I know for one of my work things, I just was like, how do you I forget what I asked it, but I asked it like how do you do something on like one of my alarm systems? Like how do you make the system arm itself every day or something like that?
Hmm.
And normally I would have to look that up on Google and then like find like a reputable website, click on the website, scroll down, look through some stuff, and then find a paragraph. Nowadays, Google sometimes will pick the paragraph out and like show it to you at the top of the search, but sometimes that's not always from like a good website. So like you have to do that same thing anyways. But with ChatGPT, I feel like it just gives you the answer with like full confidence that it's the right answer, which is like incredible. Like it's not always 100% accurate, but like as far as like if you don't have the time to research something, ChatGPT will get you 90% there, essentially.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's almost it's just like the next step of like internet search. Although it's not connected to the internet yet. As far as I understand, it just has a like a I don't know, a depository of information from 2021 from all of the internet. So it's not exactly like up to date, but the second that they do connect to the internet, then yeah, it'll be an unstoppable learning tool, basically. And right now with the Google search, you can ask it a question, but then you have to be either lucky enough or smart enough to click on the right result. Because like the first 10 results that you get, they're probably not even like exactly
Yeah.
super relevant to what you want. It's just someone like knew how to play the game better and they knew how to get their result to like show up first. So at this point, I think even like the most basic internet user knows that like the search results that you get on Google aren't 100% like reliable, but this chat GPT thing is making people feel like the answer that they're getting is not only reliable, but like instant. So I think that's the difference.
Okay. I
Right.
I I can understand the time part of that for sure. 'Cause that makes sense. Cause like yeah, I've definitely Googled things before and like had to take a few minutes longer than I would have maybe originally thought. Like trying to look up exactly like my situation if I was doing something like that. But the the what was the other part? Oh, the accuracy. Yeah, so the accuracy is tough because like chat so Chat GPT can't know necessarily how to do it itself how to do those things. It has to be relying on information that was given to it by people. So like if you're saying like the
Mhm.
internet, right? So I guess we're really depending on is how accurate ChatGPT can decipher all of the normal internet information, and we're saying that it probably will do a better job than like the average person. Is that does that make sense? Is that right or am I not? Because like I would think the same I would think basically it's taking the same information that all of us would have on Google and just basically what it sounds like you're saying is just giving us the most accurate one.
I'm not even sure. I just
Well,
feel like it gives me you the most likely one. There's
okay.
parts of it that I even myself don't fully understand how this could possibly work this way because like it's supposed to work just like if enough people on the internet like basically said the sky is purple, the sky is purple, eventually ChatGPT would think that the
Right.
sky is purple because
Right.
it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
been trained that
Right.
most people are saying the sky is purple. But like
Mhm.
also it does have like an ability for like complex like problem solving, like which is I don't understand how that's possible because like I'll ask it like very like extremely use or like specific use cases and it will be able to like identify like what I'm talking about, like what to do. And it's like things that I know like no one has like figured out like necessarily on the internet. Maybe not know, but like where on the internet did they like did somebody ask this? I just want to know like so like I don't know.
Oh, the internet is
Yeah,
vast, my friend.
Yeah.
apparently so yeah, it can be wrong. I think that's what it is. Like they like how do you make something like yeah, if enough people on the internet are confidently
Right.
saying the sky is purple and like producing content and articles and videos that the sky is purple, then how would ChatGPT ever be able to understand that the sky isn't
Well,
purple?
then
Like
that's what I was sort of that's the direction I was sort of going, and I was going to say like it sounds like it's most useful at this time for things that have a definite answer to them. Like if we're like you said, a specific use case, like a very specific like what is this thing, and like it can only be one thing. Like if it's anything that has any nuance, like then obviously all it can give you is what it it thinks the best not thinks, but I guess what it has determined is the best things based on maybe whatever code that it uses to decide, but I guess disseminate between it, different pieces of information.
Well, I I think I think the answer that it gives is not it's not just like what it thinks. It's basically what the culmination of human intelligence knows so far. And like we still don't know certain things because it's just a neural network. So it just tries and fails over and over and over again until it like lines up the right correct answers for like what you want it to do.
Right. I guess I was thinking more in terms of like questions that are more of an opinion that like there might be an opinion on, but like no one
hmm
might actually have the exact answer. Like you might think like Biden is sketchy. Like what if you ask ChatGPT like does Biden have a medical illness that would prevent him from being a good president? Like there's so much packed into that question that it's like very heavily going to depend very heavily on like who you ask. So like I would think in cases like that, taking just the overall total information and trying to figure out like which one's accurate would be a lot more difficult because it's just bogged in like human experience that makes things a little murky.
Yeah, and it takes that into account and just has so much information and so many pathways to dedicate simply to answering that one question that it can like it can figure out if like one little nuance of a human like emotion would make one outcome less likely. So it knows that like I don't know, the Associated Press is the most credible source for like world news. I don't know if that's real. I just made
Yeah,
that
yeah,
up.
yeah, sure.
But like it knows that. So when it comes across a piece of its like learning puzzle and it comes from the Associated Press, it's like, okay, well, I'll add this piece of data into my answer as like part of like how I can formulate it because I know it's credible or I've been told it's credible. So, yeah, like some of those fringe cases that you're talking about where I don't know, whatever crazy right-wing internet YouTube channel is saying that Biden has dementia, or whatever crazy super left-wing thing is saying that Donald Trump, like, I don't know, kidnaps little
I,
girls. Like, I don't think it
I
doesn't
don't.
include that.
I don't. I wouldn't say that. So first, I wouldn't say that like left and right leaning is necessarily fringe. But like, I understand what you were saying. Like those cases are fringe. I was more
Yeah.
talking about the cases in between fringe and like having a right answer. So like maybe not Biden has dementia, but like is Biden like what if you asked it just like is Biden a good president? Like that's a simple enough question. Not as simple, but like it's an honest or innocent enough question that like because of the fact that it's so like depends on so many factors. Like my thought would be, I wonder how it would assign like uh, value to something like the word good. Like if I ask it, like, what makes a good president? Like, is it just going to take all like that throughout history? It takes all information. And I'm thinking like, I wonder what it would assign, like what kind of value it assigns to like, being very like headstrong or like not going back on decisions, like just random shit. Like I don't know how it actually does it, but like you know what I mean. Like I just
Mhm.
wonder if it has multiple things that could make up an answer, how it assigns value to the parts of it that it knows are uh, the parts of it that it knows are relevant to the answer. Because like I'm sure someone's gonna eventually like is gonna ask questions, or if they probably have already, where like
So
the answer isn't like as a simple answer.
yeah, I've the first time I found out about ChatGPT, I spent probably like 6 or 8 hours having those exact kind of conversations with it. And I've come to learn that it will never give you will basically never give you its own opinion on anything. Also, it is
Well, probably because it can't have
programmed.
one, can it? I mean, not as we know it, right?
Right. So like it also will only like if you ask it a question is like if you literally say define a good person, like it will just whatever opinion you give it, it will just provide you with what it thinks that like the general consensus of humanity wants. So if I say like what is a good person, it'll just say a good person is generally considered to be someone who's kind, honest, and ethical in their actions and decisions. Like it doesn't say I think a good person.
Sure.
And I've tried to like argue it and like trap it into saying that it itself thinks of something. Like I tried to get it to admit that that it's an AI or that it's not an AI or something and that it's actually a person whose brain has been trapped in it uploaded to the internet or something like that. And basically it was just like, okay, sure, you couldn't force me to say that, but like at the end of the day, this is my function. So since this is all I can do, I define myself as an AI, and that's period. Like it's not an opinion. It's just like that's just a fact based on
Yeah.
like my functionality. So like it like literally will not give you an opinion. But also keep a note, this thing is programmed to act like a helpful non-bias assistant. Like there's programming behind like what you see that says, okay, like it takes this language model. So like this language model, all it does is like you said, is it predicts like words, like likely words that should come next. So like before every chat sequence, there's actually like a direction. There's instructions to the language model essentially that say it's just like writing that kind of starts it off so it knows how to start. And it's like you are a helpful AI assistant. Uh, so be as helpful as possible and don't like give out bad advice. And then like and then it's like my what I have to say next is and then like it just leaves it blank and then you type in the chat what you're saying and then it enters it into those instructions and then the instructions and then it just guesses based off of what you all wrote together and it compares to everything it's ever read on the internet and it's just like it prints off like what is most likely to come next. So like you can make a chat GPT that will give you opinionated answers if you give it the instructions of you're an opinionated journalist on whatever side, and then it will act like it has an opinion. So like that's kind of a decent point to bring up, and I don't know. I guess kind of maybe what proves that it's not completely conscious yet, because it's still just doing exactly what, well, not exactly what the program is telling it to, but like it can't do anything if you don't if it doesn't have like instructions to begin with. And the instructions are for ChatGPT to be a helpful assistant.
But it is thinking, though. Would you say that? Would you qualify what it does as thinking?
Yeah, I feel like yeah. I feel like yeah,
I
this is
feel
like
like thinking is just
arguably
loading, so I guess so.
So then
yeah.
is so then yeah, it will become sentient eventually. Like if it's thinking, isn't that the whole thing? If it thinks, therefore it is.
Like if you tell it that it's alive and then just let that instance of the program run, yeah, what's the difference of something that's alive and what's not alive? Like,
It's probably like consciousness, so like a sense of self that's not programmed. Like if you ask Siri, for example, like what are you, and it'll just give you the program response. That doesn't mean that it like has opinions about itself or opinions about anything else. Like so, yeah, I would say like consciousness, which is hard to define in itself, but like yeah, like
but
some.
you can make it have opinion.
Right, but like that's not really an opinion if it's something that like you're forcing it to have. At least I wouldn't define it that way.
That could be true, but I guess like how do you know we're not being forced to have our opinions based on like our DNA or some other like factor or something? Like where do our
Um,
thoughts
well,
and things come from to begin with?
well, if it's our DNA, then there would be some overlap there, because like you necessarily don't have the exact same DNA as any other person, but like you might share some opinions with them. So I would think that we don't know like to what extent our opinions out are our own, but the I feel like the something that's programmed to say something knows with 100% certainty, or at least like as certain as a thing can be, that like the programming is what leads it to its answer, or we can at least tell that about it, because we can like make changes to the point that you're making and like make it have a completely different answer. Whereas I don't know that you can do that as easily with a human being. Like you can give a human being more information, and if it's convincing, like then I guess you can make them have a different response. But like not to the extent of like, okay, if I don't even know what's like humanly comparable, but like if I step on your foot, then you're gonna scream in this exact way, and like you can't make a human being, even if you step on their foot in the exact same way 1,000 times, their reaction isn't going to be the exact same in any of those 1,000 times.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of true, but at the same time, like there are like dogs that like all behave like dog breeds that behave differently. Like why do some dog breeds just like inherently are like will behave a certain way and other dog breeds inherently will just behave other ways. But like within the breed, it's pretty much expected that they generally act like a certain way. So like that's like that external factor. Like I'm sure the dog just thinks it's just doing what it wants to do. But if you look at it from the outside, it almost seems like
Oh
there's
yeah,
something else in play here.
I definitely think we're like, I don't want to say governed, but like I definitely think that like our DNA plays a role. I just don't know to what extent it plays the role. That I think that's the difference between like myself and a basically a bot. Like with a bot, I can be sure of what the bot does. I guess the only way that you'd be able to tell for us, and this is kind of like the brain in the vat situation, is like if you could exist outside of your own brain, but like
Right.
then you wouldn't be you anymore. So that's like it's even that sentence in itself is nonsensical.
But we do exist outside of our own brain. Like
Do we?
I mean, yeah, because the reality that we interact with on a daily basis doesn't like it doesn't exist like in our brain. Like our brain is like in our skulls in complete darkness.
Uh,
Like it doesn't experience anything until like we get data from our eyes. And if you're
well,
blind, then you don't get data that way. You have to hear.
well,
If you're deaf, you don't get
that's
data that
all of
way.
that assumes though that you're experiencing a reality that other people experience. I think what Valero and I are talking about is like, how can you even be sure that what you're experiencing is reality? Maybe what you're experiencing is someone's simulated version of reality for you.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Right. So in that way, you wouldn't be able to tell. You wouldn't be sure of anything. Like that's what I'm saying. Like the most you can be sure of is like that is that the reality that you're experiencing is one that you're going to have to interact with in a certain way so that you can continue to move forward in it. But like you don't know if it's like an actual one that everyone else experiences. Like if all of you could just be a figment of my imagination, I have no way to like definitively eliminate that possibility.
Right. Yeah, I think the thing that we might be forgetting is that this whatever it is, it's still like a baby. It's still young. Like it's gonna learn
Yeah.
and grow and evolve as well. And
Are you
but
afraid it's gonna take over?
I mean like like the things that it can do like right now. I mean, what can our infants do? Basically nothing. But
Yeah.
When
this
it can do
machine
it,
infant can like think most people under the table.
I guess I'll worry about it when it like becomes hostile. I mean, because there's really nothing else I can do. If it's already the case that the people who have the means to do this are doing it, and they've decided that that's what's going to happen, then that's just what it's going to be. So,
Yeah.
I mean, all that you can really do, like, I don't want to spend my life in fear of the thing that might happen. Like, I understand that it's definitely a possibility. I'm not saying that it's not. I just I think the time for me to be really worried about it is like when one of the robots that they make like escapes, or like the AI like puts itself into the robot and escapes, and like it's like on the loose. Then I'm concerned.
I mean,
Yeah.
how do you
I
know that
just
hasn't happened? If I
It
have
might
like
it
an
might
instance
have,
of
but
ChatGPT on a flash drive and
you
I give
could.
it the instructions that it's alive, then like it's happened.
I mean, yeah, and when I hear about it, then I'll be super worried.
I mean, like worried about what though exactly?
I guess my life and if it'll look the same if if I have an AI overlord.
You're like, oh fuck, it's gonna write all my essays for me.
yeah. Yeah. I guess the long and short of it for this episode is don't let GPT get into one of those Boston Dynamic robots, because then we're really fucked.
Then the disrespect
Yeah,
really begins.
it's already
Yeah.
in there. You saw
You
the way
thought
it
that,
threw that tool
yeah,
bag.
you thought that bag
Yeah,
was
that was
bad? Just
disrespect.
you wait.
Yeah, that was complete disrespect. It
That
didn't
was
even look at it.
disrespect.
It practically threw it over its shoulder, like.
Yeah. And then it flipped. It did parkour at the end
I have
and
to
then
look it
like
up.
stunned on everyone. It was
Yeah,
crazy.
stunning on him. It's hilarious. Yeah, check it out. Boston Dynamics latest video. Look it up on YouTube. It's worth it.
Yeah, yeah, go check that out. I guess that's homework for the listeners. And also, our call for a staunch up north Republican still stands, and Valero will be nice to you. So, yeah,
As nice as
come,
he was to me.
yeah, come argue your point.
I hope you're ready.
Yeah. But yeah, interesting things to think about, but I think that'll do it for episode 16. So, yeah, thanks for the good conversation, guys. Say bye now.
Bye bye.